And you can see straight away this is quite a big project, and it's a bit more of a project than what I was expecting. The hull is pretty good. The masts are really good, really strong. Absolutely love it. Obviously it's a Colin Archer. They were built as Norwegian rescue boats in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Wasn't too bad a night's sleep. I need to get a little camping bed though. Right, I'm gonna have a little coffee. Got a little jet boil thing. It's good. I had a pot noodle with it last night. Well, if you watch the channel regularly, you'll know that I've just set off on a European boat finding trip, camping out in my car, and I'm here in North Germany in Wischaffen, which is on the lower Elbe. So the boat is just over there. It's a 46-foot Colin Archer, which was advertised on eBay for 35,000 euros. So we're going to check that out today. What I'm probably going to do, rather than taking this big fat camera, shoving it in the owner's face, I'm just going to whip around with the GoPro, and I'll probably do some silly improvised voiceover over it. There's another boat just north of this one which I'm going to check out hopefully over the next couple of days, and then it's probably going to be heading down to France and then to the Netherlands. But of course, if I find a boat, which I'm absolutely dead certain on, that trip could come to an end. Will it be this boat? We'll find out. There are some absolute beautiful boats here. This is a really interesting little place. Every single boat here seems to be this kind of classic style, much similar to this Colin Archer that I'm going to look at in a second. But yeah, what a little spot this is. So obviously with it being on the river and it drying out, you can only get the boat out into the North Sea on the high tide. Yeah, something to take into consideration. So yeah, the next footage that you'll see is going to be me on the boat with my GoPro. Really don't like GoPro footage. It's pretty rubbish, so sorry about that. About to start the engine. Okay, voiceover mode enabled. Here I am on deck, and you can see straight away this is quite a big project, and it's a bit more of a project than what I was expecting. Yeah, there are some really good parts on this boat. So the winches is good, the rigging's good, you'll see that in more detail. There is a lot of work to be done on the deck, mostly painting. A lot of the rust has been painted over here, but it could probably do with a bit more work. A lot of the hatches need redoing, which we'll see as well, but I think the hull is pretty good. Anyway, this one's priced at 35,000 euros. I wasn't coming into this boat thinking that I would be able to pay that. Obviously, well, I can't pay that, but there you go, close up of some of the painted over rusty bits. So there was 4 or 5 other people looking at this boat because the owner lives in Hamburg, and he got all the viewings together. So there was a professional on board, and his comments about the rig were that it's really good. The masts are really good, really strong. I check out the chain plates later, and they're really good. Obviously it's a steel boat, so no spongy deck, but yeah, it's got a teak deck which looks pretty good, just needs a really good clean. You've got your windlass there, and yeah, there's, like I said, some really good parts about this boat, and in my opinion anyway, this classic design, absolutely love it. Obviously it's a Colin Archer. They were built as Norwegian rescue boats in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Apologies for the super crazy footage, but yeah. So yeah, the teak needs a good clean, but it looked all intact. Where the water gathers there's a bit of rust, but really nothing too much. Everything's under tarp because there are a lot of leaks through the hatches, and yeah, it is a big project. And also, I know a lot of people will be saying, run away, run away. I can almost hear it now from the comment section. That's the owner there, Canaman, who did give me permission to film as well. Yeah, it would be nice if we can be respectful in the comments section, because at the end of the day, this is someone's boat, and yeah, I can already hear people saying run away from this one. But obviously, due to all its problems and the price, this is the type of boat I'm not 100% sure if it's going to sell super quickly, so there's a good chance that you can get the price down. So yeah, the masts all really good, and the key elements in that respect are all really good, and all very straight, as you can see, and pretty well tensioned as well. You've got these, I don't know what you call that, tensioning system, but because it's such a heavy boat, the rig is going to be under quite a lot of stress, and this is in no way a fine weather boat. To really get it going, you need some good wind, but it would be an incredibly safe and very nice looking, in my opinion, boat. Double ender, and the wind vane as well. It has a wind vane. It has 2 dinghies, one with a sail. That's a little rudder there under there. The sails are in really good condition. The sail bag's also good. You can't really tell from the terrible video, but yeah, they were very crispy and clean on all 3 sails. And yeah, one's cleaned up and quite a lot of work done on it. It would be a very nice boat. That's the wind vane tiller thingy. And a few fumes, but nothing dramatic coming out of the exhaust. There was a lot of smoke on startup because it hadn't been started, but I was there when he started it for the first time in a few months, and it started really well. The engine's had a lot of work to it. So yeah, cockpit, nice centre cockpit, all the instruments working, your windlass control there as well, and 5,400 hours on the Ford Lehman engine. Yeah, so this one obviously it needs more than just a good clean, but yeah, I was really impressed with the masts. Whether they're original, I'm not sure. This boat was built in 1981 in 5mm steel. The hatches have hatch covers, which I think just need a bit of a clean up, but as I said, which we'll see in a little bit, the hatches need work. So the best thing about this boat for me is the layout. It would be possible to have many crew comfortably on this one. Up, there we go. Go on, Mark. You've got no idea what you're doing. Go on, you can do it. Good lad. Really like the kitchen area. You're enclosed, so it would be pretty easy to cook on anchor, and nice little chart table, and pretty nice, and it all felt really quite dry inside, and the layout, like I said, is just really nice. Some of the hatches need to be
this one here. This comes here and the ring comes in.
Okay.
And the other one is here.
So you can see here going through, that's one cabin with 2 beds and another cabin with 2 beds. Okay.
This one was destroyed by the girlfriend of my daughter. So it's cracked.
So yeah, it just needs refurbishing.
I think a refurbish or a new one, I don't know.
I just noticed a little bit of kind of damp coming through on the wall there, which needed a little bit of work. I think there was a potential leak.
It's warmed up now.
So is this from the engine?
No, that's from the stove. Oh,
so yeah,
essential.
There's a burner in the saloon which powers radiators in every single cabin, which is super handy, especially in this climate. It doesn't really warm up in these northern parts of Germany or in the UK until May, in my experience. Yeah, there's other radiators in there and more storage. It's just an ideal layout to have crew, friends, family staying for longer periods.
Everything was mahogany.
Ah, okay.
And if you live at 1 week in mahogany, you start to make suicide.
Yeah, it's just dark.
So we painted white.
Okay. And the shore power is all okay, or the AC?
Yes, I think so. Last time it was okay, but it must be a year ago I tried it.
Yeah, so this is a diesel.
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 Reflex stove.
Ah, reflex. Okay.
From Denmark.
Okay.
And you got the tank is here.
Okay.
60-liter diesel, and you can heat with 2 weeks maybe.
Okay. Oh, good.
It's a charger.
Charger, yeah. And this is the heads. Is there another head? Oh, this is
What?
is this the just one toilet? Yeah. It looks clean.
And you need small shoulder for the toilet.
You need what?
Small shoulder.
Yeah. So yeah, the forward V-berth was a really nice wide one. You got a little sink in there as well, which is awesome. And that's like a nice double V-berth there. So yeah, the rigging was all really clean, really nice. And you can see the chain plates without any sort of rust. So whether they've been re-welded over the last few years, I'm not sure. But everything in terms of rigging was really tight, really nice. And yeah, having the professional on board as well, who was chatting to me in English, was really helpful as well. So this is the aft locker, and you can kind of get a picture of the steel inside. Sorry for this bad filming. So on the inside, there's practically no rust on the inside of most of the hull. Just a few around the fittings. We'll see in a second when I get the camera sorted. Just where it worried me. So a little bit in the bilges. So you've got all your pipes for all your tankage and all that stuff. There was a little bit of rust in there, and the professional also saw a small leak coming from the anode. But we'll talk a little bit about this rust a little bit later, because I've got Michelle's opinion on that kind of rust. And there was some water in the bilge, which in a steel boat you don't really want, but it is a project. I'm not getting myself under any illusions. And yeah, the engine has had quite a few new things done to it, new heat exchanger, water pump and all that. And yeah, it's difficult to get a look at the inside of most of this boat on the inside of the hull, because it's all covered up with paneling and everything. However, it all looked clean apart from that bit in the bilge. So back in the starboard cabin, which generally felt really dry and the woodwork was all nice. This is the guy, the professional. He'd found this little small leak, and yes, here is me wandering around the boat trying to film, trying to get a good picture of everything. Yeah, just the layout on this boat is just something else. For a boat of this age to have this much space and accommodation is just brilliant. There's a bit of a storage area there as well. So in the next video, which I'll upload over the next few days, I won't keep these videos every week, because it'll just be too much, and by the time I've got a boat I would be way too far ahead. Again, looking in the bilge here, trying to get a close-up of the rust. This whole engine bay area could really do with a bit of a tidy up, and there would be a lot of things to get your head around in terms of wiring and whoop, bad footage. What's this terrible filming? So you can see the plating on the inside of the hull here is pretty much really good. Obviously you've got a little bit of rusting, but just kind of down a little bit more, you can see you have that kind of crusty rust, which I'll talk about more. I'll get Michelle's thoughts on that type of rust. I haven't shown this boat or this footage to Michelle yet, so his opinion is not about this boat in particular, just on rust, so we'll hear that in a second. So this was my main concern, this area kind of around the bilges, and it would take, you know, probably a bit of an expense to get the boat lifted out and to fully inspect all of this. So obviously that is the biggest drawback with this boat. So there you go, here I am, stood on the front thing, I can't think what it's called right now, the bowsprit. Yes, oh, terrible filming. And there we have a boat, which is an absolute beauty. She needs love, she needs work, she needs money. Obviously the price is listed at 35,000 euros. It's gonna need a lot of boat, but it's gonna need a lot of money. But once you've spent that money and the time and the effort, you've got a pretty valuable boat. So this boat does have soundings, ultra soundings, and for the most part the hull is in really good shape. The thinnest point is 4.2 millimeters and it was built in 5. I'm recording this without doing the voiceover, so I'm not sure what I've said, but yeah, it's a beautiful boat. The layout is perfect. However, kind of like the rust which I saw around the bilges was not that good. It was that kind of really crusty rust. But again, I'm not really that experienced with that. It probably would be better to get a surveyor in for it. So I think what I'm going to do, still waiting to hear back from the boat in Kiel, which is another 3-hour drive north from here. I'll go check that one out, and then I don't know, I might think you can always make an offer, a low offer. I guess I have to calculate kind of the potential risk of expense and the amount of work that I would have to do on this one, which I'm not kidding myself about. It's quite a lot of work, but it's definitely a good boat to work on, a good design. Got a voice message from Michelle. He's so cool.
Here's the thing about rust. First of all, you won't find a boat of a certain age without rust. I mean a steel boat, right? So there's always gonna be some rust. The rust you describe isn't necessarily the worst kind of rust, because you have to keep in mind that rust is about 10 times bigger than the steel. So 1 millimeter of steel will create about 1 centimeter of rust. So if you take out even relatively large chunks of rust, it doesn't necessarily mean that the steel below that is decreased by the same amount. Just because there is some rust in some areas doesn't mean the boat shouldn't be considered for purchase. What you can and should do, however, is cut the price. You know, like you would see what exactly you would have to do to fix that. If it's really, of course, first, if it's really necessary to fix that, and then, you know, use that as a leverage for your negotiation.
He's so good. And if you watch his videos, My First Boat, his videos are so good, so to the point. The way he speaks and explains everything is super clear. Yeah, so thank you, Michelle, if you're watching this, and yeah, go check out My First Boat on YouTube. Also, arranged to see the boat up north, but it's so interesting what Michelle was saying. So you can chip off loads of rust. It doesn't necessarily mean that the rust is that low. It's just difficult to get access to all the boat. Okay, I'll leave it a couple of days. Maybe I'll make a low offer. What do you reckon? I know everyone's just gonna say no, don't bother. So yeah, still more boats to see. Also got Justin's boat, my friend's boat, in the south of France as well, which has had all this work pretty much taken care of. So interesting times. just a little update. My uploading schedule is going to be pretty sporadic, but hopefully more frequent, because I'm hoping to see a lot of boats. So this boat was only a couple of days ago, but if I uploaded a video only on Fridays, then it might be summertime by the time it catches up to when I've actually got my boat. If you press the notification bell button as well as subscribing, then you'll know when I do upload the videos. So the other steel Colin Archer in the north, that turned out to be a really good boat and a very decent option. Yeah, and also I was going to go straight down to France from the north of Germany, but I've met up with Hushka, who was sailing with us in the last season, and we're going to go to the Netherlands to look at boats together. Yeah, hopefully we can get a look at some decent boats. Then I'll head down to France, and then we'll see what we find there as well. Stay tuned, subscribe, hit the notification bell button. If you want to help support me, you can drop a couple of quid on my PayPal or Patreon, obviously. But don't worry, just watch, just subscribe, like and enjoy. Okay, see you later.